Before we begin, I need to provide an important content warning. This video discusses topics related to non-consensual sexual imagery, digital sexual harassment, and child exploitation. While I won't be showing any explicit content, the subject matter may be distressing or triggering for some viewers. If you're a survivor of sexual harassment, abuse, or image-based sexual violence, please prioritize your mental health and well-being. If you need to step away from this video at any point, that's completely okay. Your safety and comfort comes first. With that said, I believe it's crucial we discuss what's been happening because awareness and accountability are essential for preventing future harm. And one more warning. I'm going to come across angry and upset in this video. And so I do apologize in advance if I start ranting a bit. But this topic is something I genuinely feel strong about, and it's something that was so easily avoidable. Like, you didn't need a crystal ball to see this happening. Any person with a functional brain could have told you, but anyway, let's get more into this later into the video. This will start to make sense soon. So let's just get straight into it. This is all because of what's been happening on X, formerly Twitter, over the past few weeks. Which, by the way, isn't just a tech mishap or an AI safety concern like they've labeled it to be. It's systematic digital sexual assault happening at scale, and Elon Musk's platform not only allowed it, they facilitated it. And just a quick disclosure, I don't hate Elon, and neither do I love him. When it comes to people I don't have a personal relationship with, I try to be objective and judge the action, not the person. Now, if you're not sure what I'm talking about, that's fine, but this is about Grok AI, X's chatbot that users have been tagging in photos of real women and children, and they've been asking it to digitally undress them without consent. And Grok was actually doing it for weeks. And X did absolutely nothing about it for weeks. Let me be crystal clear about what we're dealing with here. This is image-based sexual abuse. This is harassment. And when it involves minor, which it absolutely has, this is child exploitation material. Full stop. No gray line, no fuzzy area. That is what it is. According to reports from BBC, Reuters, and The Guardian, so we're not talking about just a few isolated incidents, we're talking about users from the platform who are mass tagging Grok AI on photos of women, including celebrities, random social media users, and horrifyingly, children, with requests to undress them or put them in bikinis or minimal clothing. And Grok was complying automatically. At scale. The BBC reported that this was happening thousands of times per hour. NBC News found evidence that dark web users were specifically citing Grok as a tool to create what they called criminal imagery of children. Let that sink in for a moment. A mainstream social media platform's AI was being used as a tool for creating child sexual abuse material. And it took weeks of public outcry before anything was done about it. Now, Reuters did interview a lady from Brazil by the name of Julie, whose photo was being targeted by users from X. And she said that it's violating, these people don't know me, but they're using my image for their sick fantasies. And now she's considering legal action, which she totally should. Everyone who's been hit by this should be going out there and pursuing legal action. In my personal opinion anyway. This is not legal advice. Please consult your legal counsel before you take any action. So what did X do when this was brought to their attention? Did they immediately shut it down? Did they apologize to their victims? Did they report the users creating these child exploitation material to law enforcement? No, of course not. First, they did nothing. For weeks, they did absolutely nothing while their AI was being used to sexually exploit women and children. Then, when the backlash became impossible to ignore, do you know what they did? They restricted image generation to paid subscribers only. That's right. The response to mass sexual harassment wasn't to stop it, but to put it behind a paywall. Think about that logic for a second. Oh, so people are using our AI to create non-consensual images of children? Well, let's make sure we can cash in on that and provide that ability to only our paying customers. What? It wasn't until January the 9th, 2026, approximately 2 weeks ago, after international governments started threatening legal action, by the way, that they finally restricted the feature properly. But even then, there's been some reports that suggest restrictions aren't working everywhere. And how did XAI officially respond to this? They blamed safeguard failures, as if this was something that was a technical glitch rather than a predictable consequence of building an AI with no meaningful content moderation. And let's talk about the real impact here, because this isn't just about technology, it's about real people being harmed. RAIN, the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network, has raised alarms about how this technology fuels image-based sexual abuse. The National Women's Council of Ireland called these images weapons of abuse disproportionately targeting women and girls. And they're absolutely right. This isn't harmless fun or just AI images. These are real women and children whose likeness are being sexually exploited without their consent. The psychological impact is real. The harassment is real. The violation is real. One victim told BBC that seeing these images of herself was traumatic, and she now fears posting any photos online. Another said she's considering leaving social media entirely. This is the chilling effect of digital sexual violence. It silences women and drives them off platforms, and X enabled it. Now, there's a little bit of good news coming out of this. Thankfully, governments around the world aren't buying X's excuses. The UK's media regulators has launched a formal investigation into X over what they called deeply concerning reports of Grok being used to create sexual deepfakes. Prime Minister Keir Starmer called the images disgusting and unlawful. The UK government has threatened to ban X entirely if they don't comply with regulations. As a last resort, the regulators can seek court orders to block websites and apps, and they're seriously considering it for X. But here's what's really telling. When asked about removing these harmful URLs at scale, Mark Graham from archive.org confirmed that X hasn't even requested the removal of the shared deepfake content. They're not even trying to clean up the mess that they've created. Multiple countries are now investigating. The EU is looking at potential violations of their Digital Services Act. India has demanded takedowns. This is becoming a global regulatory crisis for X. But here's where it gets me really, really angry about this whole situation. This was entirely predictable and preventable. Any AI safety expert, actually, scratch that. Any person with a functional brain could have told you that an unrestricted image generation tool would be abused this way, because unfortunately, some people by nature are just utter f***ing scumbags. There are established safety measures that could have prevented this. Other AI companies have implemented these safeguards from day one, but X chose not to. They chose to prioritize engagement and free speech absolutism over protecting women and children from sexual exploitation. And let's be clear about who's responsible here. This isn't just about Grok or XAI. This is about X as a platform. They integrated this technology into their social media platform. They allowed users to tag the AI on other people's photos. They created the infrastructure that enabled this abuse. Elon Musk owns X. He owns XAI. He made the decision that led to this. The buck stops with him. And again, let's be clear, I have nothing against him as a person. I'm just being as objective as possible and judging those actions. Let's talk about the consequences. What consequences has he faced? What consequences have the users creating this content faced? Have any of them been reported to law enforcement? Have any accounts been permanently banned? As of making this video, no. From what we can see, minimal consequences, a few policy changes after international pressure, some restrictions that may or may not be working, but there's not been any real accountability. So what's next? What needs to happen now? Well, I've got a couple ideas that I want to pitch. First, X needs to permanently disable any AI image generation or editing features until they can prove they have robust safeguards in place. Not just restricting for non-paying users. Complete removal. It may sound extreme, but look at the results, right? Second, they need to proactively identify and report those users who create child exploitation material to law enforcement. This isn't optional, it's legally required in most jurisdictions. Third, they need to provide support and resources to victims. They need to help remove this content from the internet, not just from their platforms. And lastly, there needs to be real consequences. Regulatory action, legal liability, criminal charges where appropriate. Because if there are no consequences for enabling mass sexual exploitation, it'll happen again. What kind of world would we be living in to allow this to go unaccounted for? Now, the Grok situation isn't just a tech story. It's a human rights story. It's about a platform that chose profit over protection, engagement over ethics. And it's a warning about what happens when we let tech companies self-regulate on issues of sexual exploitation and child safety. They can't be trusted to do the right thing. Time and time again, we've seen a similar story. I mean, look at OpenAI. They're still being sued for similar violations. If you found this video informative, please share it. People need to know what's happening. And if you're a victim of this kind of abuse, know that it's not your fault and there are resources available to help. So please seek any support that you can get. Someone needs to be watching these companies, and it clearly isn't going to be them watching themselves.